Okay girls, now we will study portfolio selection, which is a unit 5. Again we have part 1 and part 2 in this. In part 1 we will study meaning of portfolio, feasible set of portfolio, efficient set of portfolio, and selection of optimal portfolio. I'm sorry girls, first one we will study meaning of portfolio selection. I have written only portfolio, but we will study meaning of portfolio selection, then feasible set of portfolio, efficient set of portfolio, and selection of optimal portfolio. This is the part 1. Okay, in part 2 we will study sharp single index model, security return and risk under single index model, that is nothing but sharp single index model, portfolio return and risk under single index model, and the last one is the multiple index model. And this unit is a very small girls, we have only limited problems in this. So now we will see what is portfolio selection. So the first in your synopsis is the meaning of portfolio girls, portfolio selection. So if you remember portfolio management, we have 5 steps, right? Okay, first one is security analysis, second one is portfolio analysis, third one is portfolio selection, fourth one is revision, and the last one is the evaluation, right? See, first security analysis, we'll calculate risk and return for each and every security. Okay, based on that, based on the securities we selected, okay, we will create a portfolio. And if you remember, we can create n number of portfolios for the securities which have selected, and then from the portfolio we will calculate a risk for that and the return. Okay, based on that, now we are going to see the third step, that is portfolio selection. Okay, see, obviously we know that every investor makes an investment with the objective of maximizing his return and minimizing his risk. See, in order to minimize the risk, what will happen? The investors go for diversification. That is what we studied earlier. The combination of the securities to be selected by the investor results in the construction of the portfolio. This point we studied in the portfolio analysis in such a way that it provides the highest return and the lowest risk. So portfolio selection is nothing but it is the process of selecting the optimal portfolio. Okay, portfolio selection is nothing but it is a process of selecting the optimal portfolio. Okay, so in this unit we are going to see how we are going to select the optimal portfolio. Okay, this is what the meaning of the portfolio selection, girls. Okay, next one is the feasible set of portfolio. Okay, feasible set of portfolio is nothing but, girls, see, earlier we saw an example, right? Total depending upon my amount that I'm going to invest and depending upon the risk that I'm going to bear, I have selected 10 securities. Okay, so the first step teaches like how to do, that is, first step is nothing but security analysis. Okay, by calculating risk and return for all the 10 securities, I bought this 10 securities of to 5 securities, right? Okay, so under 5 securities, the next step is the portfolio analysis, right? Portfolio analysis. Under portfolio analysis, what did we study? We can create n number of portfolios. Say example, A, B, C, D, E are the securities I have selected, okay, depending on the risk and return analysis. So example, my portfolio 1, I can keep only A, B and C. Okay, portfolio 2, I can keep B, C and D. Portfolio 3, I can keep C, D and E. Okay, portfolio, I can keep A, C and E. So it goes on. So I can create n number of portfolios. Okay, that is what we call it as feasible set of possible. These are the possible set of portfolios. Okay, so now next step is the selection process, right? Based on these possible set of portfolios, we are going to select the optimal portfolio. See, in portfolio analysis, what did we do? We calculated risk and return for portfolio 1, we calculated risk and return for portfolio 2, we calculated risk and return for portfolio 3, and for all the portfolios we calculated risk and return. Okay, Okay, girls. Say example for portfolio 1, my risk is 10%, return is 20%. For portfolio 2, return is 10%, risk is 10%, return is 22%. For portfolio 3, risk is 8% and return is 20%. Now this is just an example, okay? See, the portfolio, when I'm comparing portfolio 1 and 2, so the risk is same, but whereas the return for portfolio 1 it is 20% and for portfolio 2 it is 22%. So tell me girls, which one I will select? Obviously I will select portfolio 2 because the risk is same, but the return portfolio 2 is giving higher. So can I say this as a inefficient portfolio? Okay, this we call it as a inefficient portfolio, and this one we call it as a efficient portfolio. Okay, this is the meaning of inefficient and efficient portfolio. See, inefficient portfolio is nothing but the portfolio which is dominated by the other portfolio. So obviously this is dominated by portfolio 2, right? We call this as an inefficient portfolio. Efficient portfolio is nothing but the portfolio which dominates the other portfolio. So in this case, even if you compare portfolio 3, so the risk can be less, but the return is also less. So obviously P2 is an efficient portfolio, P1 and P3 are the inefficient portfolios. So this is all about your feasible set of portfolio, girls. Now we are going to see efficient set of portfolio. In detail we are going to study, okay? Okay, now we will see efficient set of portfolio, girls. We just saw the example, right? In the book also they have given in detail. Okay, there are 10 portfolios given. Expected return for those 10 portfolios are also given, and risk percentage are also given for all the 10 portfolios. Girls, obviously expected return and risk is calculated from unit 4. That is what we studied, right? We calculated return for a portfolio and risk for portfolio. Okay, so risk, if you see risk for portfolio 4 and 5, you are having same percentage of risk. So tell me which one you will select. See, 4 risk is 16.2% and whereas return is 21%. For 5 it is 16.2 risk percentage and return is 23.4. So obviously the return is a higher here. So obviously I will be selecting a portfolio 5. Okay, now if you see the expected return for 7th and 8th portfolio, the return is same but risk is different. See, for 7 it is 19% and for 8 it is 22.6%. So obviously we will choose portfolio 7 because the return is same but the risk is less in portfolio 7. This is how we select the portfolio, girls. We have to compare the risk with the return. For that we have two important points. Okay, the investor will prefer the portfolio with a lower risk for the same level of expected return as the others. Okay, he will select the lower risk. That is what portfolio 7 is. The investor will prefer the portfolio with a higher expected return for the same level of a risk as the others. It is nothing but same level of risk we have. He will select the higher return, which is nothing but portfolio 5. These are the two important points in selecting the portfolio, girls. Okay, this is how we do. We select the efficient set of portfolios. Okay, so I will repeat these two sentences. The investor will prefer the portfolio with a lower risk for the same level of expected return as of the others. So return is same, the lower risk we will choose. Okay, here the risk is same, we will take the higher return. This is what efficient set of portfolio, girls. Now we saw in the table, right? Now we are going to okay, now we will study with the help of the diagram, girls. Okay, so your x-axis is standard deviation, which is nothing but the risk, and your y-axis is the return. Okay, so here they have given you A, B, C, D, E, F. These are nothing but the securities. Okay, now if you see E and C, okay, E and C is having a same level of risk, right? Standard deviation, which is nothing but the risk. It is having the same level of risk, but the return is a high in case of E. So obviously when compared to C and E, I will choose E. Okay, now see this D, girls. D and there is no any other number. So when I compare D and the other one, see the return is same, Okay, but for D the risk is less, so I will be selecting D. Now see this C and A, we will compare C and A. See, the return is same, okay, but I will select C because it is giving me less risk, because A is having higher risk. See, when I compare E and F, it is giving the same return, but E is less. And if you compare A and B, so obviously it is having same level of risk, but B is having a higher return. Okay, so see here, this one I have ticked, this one I have ticked, this one I have ticked. So this part we call it as a efficient frontier, girls. This part we call it as a efficient frontier. Okay, this is the possible area where we had to select the portfolios. These are the possible areas where we can select the portfolios. Okay, so this is all about the efficient set of portfolio, girls. The next step is selecting the optimal set of portfolios. Okay, for this we will study an economic concept, that is nothing but the indifference curve. Okay, so indifference curve is nothing but say example, for me one apple will give me equal satisfaction for two bananas. Okay, indifference. Okay, normally indifference is we study with the help of a curve which moves from right to left downward. Okay, and yeah, if it moves up it means the higher, I mean the level of satisfaction is more, and if it moves downwards the level of satisfaction is less. Okay, so when the efficient frontier, okay, we studied here, right, efficient frontier, when the efficient frontier meets the indifferent curve, that is the place we call it as a optimal portfolio, and this is the portfolio which we had to select for investing. That's it. This is all about the optimal portfolio, girls. Okay, in simple term, girls, so the process of selecting the optimal portfolio, we call it as a portfolio selection. Okay, for that first we have seen the feasible set of portfolio, which is nothing but the possible set of a portfolio which we can create from the set of securities. Okay, after calculating a return and risk for each and every portfolio, okay, we will compare the risk with the return. How do we compare? If we have same risk, we will take the higher return portfolio. If we have two higher same returns, we will select the less risk. This is how we select. And we even saw the efficient frontier, okay, where the possible, that is the best set of portfolios we selected, okay, where the return is high and the risk is less, that part we call it as a efficient frontier. Okay, we have a definition here, girls. The portfolio and the graph lying in the northwest boundary of the shaded area are more efficient than all other portfolios in the inner of the shaded area, and this boundary we call it as a efficient portfolio. These are the efficient set of portfolios. We saw the meaning of efficient and inefficient, right? These are the efficient set of portfolio. We call this as a efficient frontier. When the efficient frontier meets the indifference curve, okay, that is where we call it as a optimal portfolio, and from this only, so and this is a portfolio which we select, girls. Okay, so this is the process of portfolio selection. Now we will see one example. The following table provides information regarding the portfolio return and risk. They have given portfolio, expected return and risk. Okay, the treasury bill rate is 5%. Which portfolio is the best, they are asking. Okay, treasury bill is nothing but it's a risk-free rate, girls. Okay, so normally what we do, and here is a solution for that. We have total 5 portfolios. Okay, it's nothing, whenever you're calculating like which portfolio is the best, okay, you have to divide the return with the risk, girls. That's it. So in this chapter eventually also you will use the same formula, which is return divided by the risk. So return minus of risk free. In this question they have given you treasury bill rate, right? So that is a risk free, right? So first expected return minus risk free divided by the risk. So expected return is 18 minus 5 divided by 9, we get 1.44. The same way we have to do for all the 5 portfolios, and the highest is the best portfolio. So when compared to the 5 portfolio, 1.60 is the highest. So this is the best portfolio. This is how we calculate the portfolio which is the best, girls. That's it. This is all about the portfolio selection. This is the part 1 of your unit 5, that is portfolio selection. So now we will see part 2, girls, that is Sharpe single index model. Okay, now we will see Sharpe single index model, girls. This is the part 2 of unit 5. So when compared to Markowitz model, Sharpe single index model is very easy and simple in nature, girls, because in the Markowitz model we had to calculate risk return. For return we use mathematical techniques, for risk we use statistical techniques, so we have so many calculations. But whereas under Sharpe single index model we don't have much calculations at all. Okay, see, Sharpe single index model says that you have to compare the individual security with the market index. That's it. That is the reason we call it a single index model. We are comparing the individual security with the market index. See, now here what happens is individual security is a dependent variable. Individual security is a dependent variable, and market index is an independent variable, because individual security depends on the market index. That is all about your Sharpe single index model, girls. Okay, apart from that, Sharpe, we will be seeing like how to calculate the estimates under Markowitz model and under Sharpe single index model. Okay, they have given us a formula for calculating the estimates. Okay, so under Markowitz model it is 2n plus open the bracket n into n minus 1, okay, divided by 2. Now see this question, illustration 1. Illustration 1. Calculate the number of estimates required to analyze the risk return profile under Markowitz model for a portfolio of 100 securities. Imagine for a portfolio of 100 securities. So meaning for 100 securities under Markowitz model we have to calculate risk and return. So it means we have to calculate for there will be so many calculations for 100 securities. So in short we can use this formulas, that is 2 into 100 securities, right, plus 100 into 100 minus 1 divided by 2. Total we will have a 5150 estimates under Markowitz model. Okay, now we will see under Sharpe single index model. The formula is 3n plus 2, which is 3 into 100 plus 2, we get 302 estimates. So when compared to the Markowitz model, the number of estimates, okay, it is just 302. That's it, girls. This is all about your Sharpe index model, meaning Sharpe single index model. Okay, because we even have multiple index model. Single, as the name says, we are going to compare the individual security only with the market index. So we are comparing only single index model. Okay, so this is all about your Sharpe single index model. Now we will see security return and risk under single index model, girls. Okay, girls, now we will see security return and risk under single index model. Okay, so we have a separate formula for security return and security risk. Okay, so if you remember, under Markowitz model, security return is nothing but we will just add the current return with the capital return, whereas expected return is nothing but return into probabilities. Okay, under risk, what did we study? We calculated standard deviation, but here we have two different formulas, girls. Okay, see, security return is nothing but Ri bar is equals to alpha I plus beta I Rn bar. Okay, this is the formula for your security return. Okay, and then for security risk, so it is variance. This symbol is nothing but the variance I is equals to beta I square, standard deviation square, that is nothing but variance M plus variance EI. This is the formula for your security risk. Okay, the best part under single index model is that we just need to understand, we just need to know the formula. All the values will be given in the question. Those value we have to substitute in these formulas. That's it, girls. Okay, so security return is Ri bar is equals to alpha I plus beta I Rn bar, and then variance I is equals to beta I square plus beta I square into variance M plus variance EI. That's it. Okay, so here they have given the expansion for the formula. So variance I is equals to variance of the individual security. I is nothing but the individual security Okay, and then variance M is for the market index return, because Sharpe index says that it studies the relationship between the market index as well and the individual security. And then EI is equals to residual returns of the individual security, and beta is nothing but the beta coefficient of the individual security. Girls, if you remember, under risk chapter we studied even beta coefficient. Okay, beta coefficient is purely for the systematic risk. Systematic risk means a risk which we cannot diversify. So now we will see one problem under single index model, girls. Calculate the expected return and risk of the security under single index model. So they ask you to calculate return and risk of the security under single index model. Okay, so return means we will use this formula, risk means we will use this formula. That's it. Okay, so they have given you alpha high. As I said earlier, all the information they will give in the question, we just need to substitute in the formula. That's it. Okay, alpha high is given as 2%, beta I is 1.5, variance EI is 300, market index number is 20%, and variance is 120. That's it. Okay, so first we will be calculating the return formula is alpha I plus beta I into RM bar. Okay, alpha I is nothing but 2% plus beta is 1.5 into RM is nothing but the return on market index, which is 20%, so into 20, so the return we get it as 32%. Okay, and the next one is the calculation of risk. So again we use this formula. So variance is equals to beta I square variance M plus variance EI. So beta I, so we have beta I as 1.5 the whole square into variance of M, variance of market index is given as 120 plus variance of EI is nothing but 300. So if you substitute these in the formula, okay, you get the risk of the security under single index model as 570. That's it, girls. Okay girls, now we will see portfolio return under single index model. Okay, so earlier we saw security return and risk under single index model. Now we are going to see portfolio return. Okay, the formula is RP, which is nothing but return on portfolio is equals to alpha P plus beta P RM. See, earlier I have written as a alpha I and beta I, right? But now I have written as a alpha P and beta P. So now we have to calculate alpha P and beta P. Okay, so alpha P is nothing but girls n sum of I is equals to 1 wi alpha I. Okay, and beta P is also similar, n sum of I is equals to 1, which is wi into beta I. Okay, so I guess you remember this, which is nothing but return means we calculate expected return, right? So whenever there is return, it is like we are multiplying the returns with the weighted average. Same way here we have alpha and beta, so the alpha with the probability we are multiplying and beta with the probability we are multiplying. That is what alpha P and beta P is, girls. And whenever you have this, if you remember, whenever you have this n sum of I is equals to 1, meaning is that it can be to n number of terms. It is not limited only to 2 securities, it is limited to n number of securities. And for beta also same, so n sum of I is equals to 1 wi beta I. So the formula is alpha P. How do we get? By doing this, plus beta P how do we get? By calculating this, that is by multiplying the weights into RM. Yes, RM will be given in the question. Okay, now we will see portfolio risk under single index model. So the formula for portfolio risk is variance P, which is variance for the portfolio is equals to beta square P, which is nothing but beta P the whole square. Beta P is, we have to calculate like this. Anyways, we will calculate portfolio return, right? From that we can take this value. Okay, so beta P square into variance of M is nothing but the market index, plus n sum of I is equals to 1, which means it has n number, it can be n number. Okay, wi square, that is nothing but the weights or the probability square, into variance of ei is nothing but the residual value. So this is the formula for portfolio risk, girls. So it is a beta P square into variance of M plus n into sum of I is equals to 1 wi square into variance square. That's it, variance ei square. Okay, this is the formula for your portfolio return and portfolio risk, girls. Okay, now we will see one problem, girls. We will calculate portfolio return and portfolio risk. Okay, so this is a question. Security they have given us A, B, C and D. Weights they have given us 0.2, 0.1, 0.4, 0.3, and alpha I is 4, 7, 3 and 1.50. This is given in the question. Okay, beta I is 3.4, 1, 1.4 and 2.6. Again, this is given in the question, and the variance for residual is also given in the question. 370, 240, 410 and then 285. Okay, see, when you are calculating portfolio return and risk, girls, see, we have a few other calculations, right? Apart from that formula, we have to multiply weights with the alpha, weights with the beta, right? So just see, in a return we have to calculate this, yeah, and we have to calculate this. And under risk, anyways, for beta for portfolio, we can take the value from here, we can just square it. Okay, and this will be given in the question, and again we have to calculate this, right? So we have to calculate. So can I say we will have an extra 3 columns in the table apart from this question? Okay, till here it is given in the question. Apart from this, can I say I have to add 3 more columns? Okay, so first column I will write alpha P. Okay, sorry, alpha, it's P, not B. Okay, alpha P is nothing but it is weights into alpha, so that is 0.2 into 4 we get 0.8. Next, 0.1 into 7 we get 0.7, and then 0.4 into 3 we get 1.2, and then 0.3 into 1.50 we get 0.45. So we will total this, so it is 3.15. So we got the alpha P value. Okay, next is the beta P. Beta p is also nothing but weights into beta p. So 0.2 into 3.4, we get 0.68. And then 0.1 into 1, we get 0.1. And then 0.4 into 1.4, we get 0.56. And then 0.3 into 2.6, we get 0.78. Okay, the total of this is 2.12 girls. So we even got the beta p as well. Okay, so I can easily calculate the portfolio return. Okay, the next column which I can add is the WI square. So which is nothing but weights. I'm going to square it. So WI square. So 0.2 into 0.2, we get 0.04. And then 0.1 into 0.1, 0.01. 0.4 into 0.4, it is 0.16. And then 0.3 into 0.3, it is 0.09. Okay, with this I will multiply variance. Okay, variance of EI. So now I'm going to multiply this 0.04, okay, with 370. So I will get WI square into variance EI. So this with this, I'm going to multiply this with this. So 0.04 into 370, we get 14.8. And then 0.01 into 240, we get 2.4. 0.16. So if you multiply 0.16 with 410, we get 65.6. If you multiply 0.09 into 285, we get 25.65. The total of that, we get 108.45. So even we got this value. So once if you are done with this table, we just substitute these values in the formula. Alpha p is nothing but 3.15, right? Plus beta p is nothing but 2.12. Okay, into RM is nothing but in the question they also given market return and market return variance. So into 15. So we get 34.95. That's it, guys. Okay, now we will calculate portfolio risk under single index model. So beta p is nothing but 2.12. So 2.12 the whole square into variance of market. Variance of market return is given in the question. So it is into 320. Okay, plus WI square and variance EI we calculated here and we got the total as 108.45. We'll just add 108.45. So you get 1546.658. That's it, girls. Okay, this is what a portfolio return and portfolio risk under single index model. Okay, see, for return we just need to take the values and substitute in the formula. That's it. But for portfolio return and risk, okay, we have to do additional 4 columns, that is alpha p, beta p, WI square and WI square into variance here, because the formula is demanding us to do this. That's it, girls. This is all about your portfolio return and portfolio risk. The next in your synopsis is a multiple index model, girls. See, single index is like comparing the individual security with the market index, right? Under multiple index, we are going to compare with three more factors. Okay, see, apart from market index, we can compare with interest rate, we can compare with the economic growth, we can compare with inflation, or we can compare with the exchange rate. So apart from the individual security, 3 more factors we have to consider. Okay, that is what multiple index model is saying. That is the reason we have R1, R2 and R3. Okay, and this is all about multiple index model, girls. In simple, we are going to compare the individual security with 3 more factors. That's it. Okay, and that too it should be a non-market factor. Okay, it should be a non-market factor. That's it. Okay, we don't have any particular problems in this. So they have given a formula. We'll just see the formula. Okay, it is Ri is equals to alpha I plus beta I Rm plus beta 1, girls. This is not I, this is beta 1 R1 plus beta 2 R2 plus beta 3 R3 plus EI. Since we have 3 factors, they have given us B1 R1, B2 R2 and B3 R3 plus EI. EI is nothing but the residual value. That's it, girls. Okay, we'll see one simple example. Okay, an investor owns a portfolio whose market model is estimated as return on portfolio is equals to 4.6 plus 0.68 RM plus EP. If the expected return on the market index is 16.5, so they have given the return for the market index, which is nothing but RM. Okay, what is the expected return on the investor's portfolio? So they're asking what is the expected return on the investor's portfolio. So he's saying that assume EP is equals to 0. Okay, and the market index they have given us 16.5. So in the place of RM, just substitute with 16.5. So you get 15.8. So in this kind of a problem, we have to assume EP is equals to 0. That's it, girls. This is all about your multiple index model, and this is all about your unit 5, that is portfolio selection. So portfolio selection, we have two parts, and whatever we discuss now is sharp single index model and multiple index model. That's it, girls.